All right, so today we're going deep on a career that's, well, all about games and change.
Yeah, about how those two things go together.
You got it. We're talking about Travis Stringer. He's the guy behind hits you've probably heard of, some you haven't, and even now, he's over at that game company, making Sky.
Huge game. And his journey to get there, that's the interesting part. We're lucky enough to have his LinkedIn to go off of, plus a Wikipedia entry about Offset Software, one of the companies he started.
So buckle up, because this is a wild ride through the world of game dev.
From indie beginnings to, well, let's just say things get pretty big.
All right, so starting out, LinkedIn tells us Stringer gets his start at S2 Games, right?
That's right. And this is where things get good. He works on a game called Savage, The Battle for Newerth. Now, this wasn't just any game.
This was 2004, right? The indie scene was a whole different world back then.
Totally. Think smaller, more scrappy. But Savage, it wins the Independent Games Festival Grand Prize that year.
Whoa, that's a huge deal. Like, if you were an indie dev back then, that put you on the map? So what was the game all about? Some kind of early MOBA, right?
You got it. A real precursor to the giants we see today. Think League of Legends, Dota 2 Savage, laid some of the groundwork. It was a blend of real-time strategy where you normally control a whole army, but you also had individual heroes with unique abilities.
So like a mix of genres. That's pretty cool.
And risky. But the combination, along with this gritty, kind of in-your-face art style, it really grabbed people's attention.
It definitely paid off. But hold on, Stringer doesn't just stay put after this success. Instead, he co-founds Offset Software. What's the story there?
Well, this is where you see Stringer's ambition really come through. See, Offset is all about this super ambitious project called Project Offset. And get this, it was a first-person shooter, but not your typical military thing.
Oh, really? What made it different?
Think high fantasy. Instead of guns, you've got magic spells. Instead of soldiers, mythical creatures.
Whoa, that's a huge swing. Were there any other details about the game?
Not really. Unfortunately, it's one of those what could have been stories.
Ah, the dreaded vaporware.
Yeah, exactly. But even just the concept alone, it shows you the kind of bold ideas they were going for.
And they got some serious attention too, right? Didn't Project Offset end up on Attack of the Show?
Oh yeah, huge deal. For those who don't know, back in 2005, Attack of the Show was like the holy grail of gaming and tech coverage.
If they featured your game, you knew you were onto something special.
Exactly. And it wasn't just hype. Intel, as in the tech giant, they see the potential in Offset, in Stringer's vision.
And they acquired the entire company in 2008.
Talk about a power move.
That's crazy. Okay, so we've got Stringer, indie darling, turned head of a company acquired by Intel.
And just when you think you know where this is going, he does a complete 180.
From high-end PC games, he goes straight into mobile.
Right. Total curveball.
Mm.
But this is where you see his foresight. Remember, this is around the time smartphones were really taking off. And he recognizes the gaming potential early on.
Way ahead of the curve.
He co-founds Fractive, and they make a game called Lane Splitter. This thing blows up, which is #2 on the Apple charts.
#2. What was it right behind Angry Birds?
Angry Birds 2, to be
Yeah.
exact.
Oh, wow. Okay, I have to admit, Lane Splitter doesn't ring a bell. What was the game?
Think about it. You're on a motorcycle, weaving through traffic, dodging cars. It was simple, but incredibly addictive, especially on a touchscreen.
All about reflexes, timing, that just one more try feeling.
Exactly. And that's what Stringer understood about mobile. He wasn't trying to cram a huge PC game onto a tiny screen.
He was making something built for it.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me get this straight. From indie darling to being acquired by Intel to conquering the App Store.
And now he's at that game company.
Known for these beautiful artistic games like Sky. It's like he's come full circle in a way, back to a focus on innovative experiences.
That's what makes Stringer's career so fascinating.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to move between these different worlds within gaming.
He's got the creativity, the adaptability. He's always looking for that next challenge.
And he's not just riding trends, he's anticipating them. Think about how different the gaming landscape might look without people like Stringer, without that willingness to take a leap of faith into something new.
Mobile gaming is everywhere these days. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about how much it's changed things, how much it shaped the way we play.
And how much more it might change in the future.
That's something we're thinking about. This has been quite a deep dive. Thanks for joining us.